Hello and welcome to the Happy Little Futures podcast. As always, let's begin with a nice deep breath in and out. Fantastic. So I considered planning a topic for today, but I've decided I'm just going to ramble a little bit about self-care because I think sometimes it's good to ramble about self-care and sometimes just even being given that permission for self-care can be so important. So we've had a lot going on in the background as a family over the past few months. Well, since the summer, really. I know I've mentioned about the kids moving school and stuff like that. It's sort of we've been in one of those times where once one thing's done, something else sort of starts to take its place slowly, and it keeps going and going and going, doesn't it? So we're sort of I think that's life, to be honest. I think that's life. But it's been a bit non-stop. It's been mentally all-consuming, which is why on social media, on Happy Little Futures in particular, I've gone rather quiet. I'm trying to build it back up again. It's just not always that easy. And I think in these instances, you can go one of two ways. You can get bogged down and struggle and burn yourself out until you crack, or you can try to step back every so often and really focus on what you can let go of. So I will admit that it definitely has got extremely hard. Just after Christmas, I had a week where I just went, actually, no, this is getting too much now, and I really need to, I said to my husband, I said, if I was employed, I would have to be getting signed off for stress right now because there's too much. So I said, as that's the case, and I'm a mom and you're not around during the day and I have no choice but to parent and do all of that, which I love, but I do have 2 hours every afternoon. I said, apart from the day that I'm taking the dog to the hydrotherapy, I said, I'm going to take off those 2 hours every single afternoon and I am going to have it as a week where I don't have to do anything. I still did posts for Be Still with Lucy. I still did the odd bit like that because I've not quite got into the mindset of advanced planning. So I know that I should, but I haven't, and that's okay. But apart from that, I did that in other moments throughout the day. I did not do that in those 2 hours where I had the house to myself. I was fortunate enough in this instance to have the house to myself, and I came home and I just did whatever my body needed. I think one day I watched a film, and I think 2 or 3 days I literally just went upstairs and lay in bed. And actually, as the week went on, I started off with an audiobook. By the end of the week, I was just like, no, I just want to lie under the quilt in the dark for a little bit. And yeah, I was down, I was struggling, I was extremely anxious, but just giving myself that permission to stop and reground was so powerful and so important, and I have been able to manage a lot better since. I spoke to a doctor and chased a therapy referral from a while ago, which wasn't for anything in particular, but it was something that I was like, I need to work through this, and I chased that, and now sort of in therapy for my allotted 6 sessions, which is great, and I'm loving, and I've got a fantastic therapist, so that makes all the difference. She's very much listening to me, and that's what you need and what you want in those situations. But yeah, I think my point with this is sometimes it gets hard. Sometimes things get really, really difficult. In those moments, that self-care has to really be upped. In those moments, things like, I don't know what, doing a whiz around the house whilst the kids are out at school and I've got those 2 hours, that had to get let go of. And it's not to say that on 1 or 2 days when I wanted to do that, I didn't do that, but I just had to go, I am a working mum, a self-employed mum. I have 3 children, and this is a lived-in house. This is very much a lived-in house, a loved house, and we are in a phase of life where there are going to be toys around. Even if I tidy them up now, they'll just get them out by the time they get back. So I just had to reassure myself that it was okay to have that. It wasn't lazy, it was what I needed in that moment. And that is very difficult to sort of break that thought pattern of it being lazy, of it being something I should do. But sometimes it's really, really important to do that. And that is something that I definitely need to work on. As far as self-care goes, is allowing myself that sort of, that moment of it's not lazy, it's what I need in this moment to be able to be there for my kids in the way that I need to. And I know I've spoken about that in the past, but I think just bringing it back round to that right now is really, really important. So before I carry on, I just want to quickly thank our podcast sponsor, Rowan Fox Clothes, who are a sustainable clothing brand with wonderful wildlife-inspired designs. And you can find their wonderful selection of clothing and mugs and lots of other things at rowanfox.com. You can also follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Rowan Fox. So head there because they are absolutely gorgeous clothes and the quality is wonderful. So anyway, I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I did. I know I've spoken in the past about bits and bobs that I've done to sort of really ground myself and find those moments where I can stop and take a breath and give myself permission to be okay. And it's not easy. If you're in the middle of it, it's really, really not easy. But I think it's important to just highlight that it is still possible, and reframing where you put those moments and what is important and what is needed in those moments. For example, the tidying up and stuff like that. As long as the house is clean and the kitchen's clean and stuff like that, to cook on and eat off, like in the case of the table, although we do eat off plates, not the table, but but things like that, that's what's important. It's little things like the kids have, like even now, the kids have loads of Lego out. My husband's been away on at a new job all week, and allowing myself to have sofa meals every single night this week has been something that I've needed to do because they just want to play with the Lego. And I have not got the energy to tidy up the table every single day when I'm trying to keep on top of everything else as well. And it's also birthday month and all sorts of things. So letting go of that mess on the table has been something I've needed to do. So little things that I've done. Being mindful when drinking my coffee in the morning. So really focusing, I know I've spoken about this in the past, really focusing on that smell of the coffee, that flavour of the coffee, that heat of the coffee first thing in the morning, and just taking one single moment to close my eyes doing that. I have also really tried to connect with my breath and my body a lot in these moments, which is difficult but important. And the big thing that I did, especially in the hardest times, even if I sometimes didn't want to, and yes, I'm saying that I sometimes did not want to do this, is to put a meditation on just before I go to bed. And even if I fell asleep, it was fine. And as time went by, then if I practiced a breathing technique within those meditations, and for me, the best one I find at the moment is 4-7-8. So you breathe in for 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. That really helped to relax me. And then I force myself every single night to, sometimes, it's not every single night, a lot of nights when I've not been up to it, or sort of been like, oh, do I have to, sort of thing, I've made the point of lying in bed, getting myself comfy, and then just breathing in for 4, holding for 7, and out for 8, and having that moment to just soothe my body, soothe my mind, relax my muscles, relax my jaw, really focus intentionally on letting go of tension, letting go of the stress and anxiety of thoughts of the day, and just sort of trying to relax into sleep. That has been vital, and that has been the most powerful thing that I've done, is that quick thing when I'm settling to sleep. And I think that is something that I recommend everyone doing, even if you just breathe in and out and say to yourself, in, out, as you're breathing. And that's what I did last night. I struggled to get to sleep before I go to bed. I struggled to get to sleep before I go to bed, and I struggled to get to sleep when my husband is away when I go upstairs to bed. I quite happily fall asleep on the sofa. I struggle when my husband is away and we're going to, I've got to go to bed upstairs. And I didn't have it in me to do the 4-7-8. I was sort of a bit breathless, and I was like, I need to do this, but I don't have that capacity right now to count. So I just said to myself, in, out, as I was breathing in and out. And just that mindful awareness of my breath was so powerful. So I suppose this is just a quick ramble, really, to say, if you're struggling right now, you're not alone. If you're struggling right now, try to find that time for you. Try to put those things that aren't vastly important to one side, such as a little bit of mess, a little bit of paperwork that could actually be done in a few months' time rather than today, or something like that. Don't blame me, please, for missing deadlines, and things like that. And just intentionally take those moments, however little, to reconnect with your breath, with your body, and really force that self-care onto yourself. However uncomfortable it feels doing that and letting go of the other things, make sure you are taking care of yourself and looking after yourself in this moment now. And if you're not struggling right now, great, but do this anyway. Make sure you are taking care of yourself, and that self-care is becoming more of an easy thing to do, an easy thing to manage, so that in those trickier moments, it comes more naturally, it comes more second nature to you, and you can recognise better when you need that self-care. So with that, just a nice quick short one, I'm going to say goodbye, and I want you to take a nice deep breath in and out, and just have a fantastic day, and head to Facebook, head to Instagram, all of those places, and give me a follow in there, and hopefully over the next few months that content will start to up again, and I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.